Um, my name is Kevin Henderson, and I would like to just formally welcome you to today's session, which is just an information session around the Young Minds program for 2025. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, and we trust that you'll find the session and the information provided that you'll find it useful, especially to those parents who are considering for their youngsters to choose something to do for next year. We trust that you'll find the information very useful as we progress through the afternoon. Please allow me, oops, I've just lost all my slides. Allow me quickly to just go through the agenda for this afternoon. I'll do a more formal welcome. That was just a so welcome, and I'll introduce you to our team for that will support you through the Young Minds program. And then after that, I'll have a short overview of the program for 2025, highlighting one or two things that we've changed or added to the program. And then after that, I'll hand over to our channel director, Ms. Claire Kelly, who will then talk us through the program calendar and some of the practicalities. And then there will be some time for frequently asked questions that Claire will sort of just brief you on. And right at the end, we will have about 10 minutes if you have any other questions you would like to ask. Also, we encourage you to use the chat function. If you have something you want to ask, please just post it into the chat, and my colleagues will keep an eye on it and provide answers as we go along. And if they can't, we might bring it up at the end of the session again, just to ensure that we've answered as much as we can of the questions that you may have about the program. So that's the plan for this afternoon. I think we're about ready. Like I said, I need to do like a nice formal welcome to say on behalf of our CEO, Dr. Chris van der Whuffen, and then also the entire EXCO of Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development, a hearty welcome to the session this afternoon. I'm dialing in from sunny Cape Town. I trust that there are some people from other geographical regions and areas. If you are dialing in South Africa from either one of the other provinces, also a very hearty welcome to you. And if there are some international guests, we also want to say welcome to the session this afternoon. On the screen, you see the team that will be supporting or support the program mostly in the background. The picture on the far left is the program manager for the Young Minds program, which is Mrs. Samantha Abrams. Samantha is also present this afternoon, and maybe Sam, you can just give a nice wave so that people can see who you are. And then next to Samantha, we have Charmaine Mitchell, who is our client relations person. You probably have communicated with Charmaine already, getting some information. Charmaine, maybe if you can just give like a high five to the audience this afternoon. Thank you, Charmaine. And then on my far right, you have Amira Lewis, who is the program administrator. Amira, if you could maybe just give a high five to the audience as well. And then you see myself, Kevin. This is not intended that I'm the only male amongst, or shall I say, thorn amongst the roses. But my role is to be the proposal and design specialist for this program. And then at the end of the day, right in the center, we have Claire Kelly, who is our channel director for the open enrollment channel. So Claire, if you can also just give like a high five as she's smiling as always, bringing that friendly face to the presence online. But then, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to another important person in our ecosystem, which is the learning process facilitator, Mr. JP Cronje, soon to be called Dr. JP Grenier. JP, you are also in the room with us. So please, just if you could maybe just give like a high five to the audience as well. That's so lovely to have you as we are continuing and preparing for 2025 for the Young Minds program. Just to give you his credentials, JP has just completed his PhD in the area of entrepreneurship, and he is a registered coach, executive coach. But JP has been journeying with the Young Minds program first as a coach, but for the last 3 years, JP has been the learning process facilitator on the program. So great to have him present here this afternoon. About the program though, but before I say something about the program, maybe it's just important to indicate to you where we fit in the ecosystem of Stellenbosch University. I think most of you are aware of the university within the town of Stellenbosch, and the university, like many other universities, would have different faculties. And one of the faculties, which is the Faculty of Economic Sciences, hosts the business school, which is actually situated not in Stellenbosch, but on one of the satellite campuses, which is in Bellville, Cape Town, South Africa. Similar to what we have at the medical school, which is the Stellenbosch University campus, but it is not on the main campus, but it's one of the satellite campuses. But at the business school, we have the division who is responsible for degree or postgraduate programs. So where people come and do the MBAs, or they do postgraduate diplomas in leadership, project management, or a master's degree, MPhil in coaching, or in development finance. However, in the business school itself, we have a division which has the responsibility of developing short courses, mainly for working professionals. And we are then known as Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development. So we are not a division responsible for degrees, but we are the division that's responsible for short courses. And the Young Minds program is one of the programs that's designed, even though not for working professionals, but specifically for youngsters who, as I would later on demonstrate to you, who are still trying to figure out what they would do with the rest of their lives. For my sins, I also am qualified as a clinical psychologist. And one of the things that I've often seen in private practice, when I was full-time in private practice, was the kind of pressure our youngsters, when they get through to matric, what they are going through in terms of the expectations that society places on them. And it's such a difficult thing because you cannot not expect anything from your youngster, but on the other hand, one also wants to be realistic in terms of what they can deal with. But I can safely say, when I was a 17-year-old finishing a matric and having to go to university, I was one of those youngsters who gloriously flunked my first year. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even have the privilege of passing one subject. And that's just the essence of that situation. Was when you're 17, you just don't know yourself well enough. You have no idea, even though the expectation is that you need to do something for the rest of your life. And so with that in mind, the Young Minds program was brought into life. So what is the Young Minds program? It's a program that will run from the 11th of March to the 7th of November, 2025. And what it actually is, it is a career-focused gap year program. We see far too often that people are saying they would like their children to do a gap year, or even your youngster may say, I would like to do a gap year program. Now, there are different options of how to go with a gap year program. Our view is that it adds more value to have a structured program in which there is a little bit of structure helping our youngsters to make decisions about their life. So the Young Minds program is then basically a structured personal development program for young adults or school leavers who are not sure what they would want to do with their lives or their careers yet. Now, I've added the word career in there, but this is more than just thinking about a career. It's more about getting a sense of purpose, developing a sense of direction, which may or may not always lead into a career choice, but at least get people to understand what kind of life I want for myself, because we structure the program in such a way that those things are explored rather than giving them a final answer, but are explored for youngsters to help them make decisions around their future as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I've already mentioned, from the 11th of March to the 7th of November, the program will run, and this program will then be facilitated on our main campus in Stellenbosch. This picture that you are seeing on the slide right now is just a picture indicating the beautiful campus. In fact, this is known as the Rooi Plein, and the Rooi Plein is just going across, I think, the library. If you looked at your right-hand side, the university library is right over there as well. And so one of the things that we pride ourselves in is that when youngsters come onto the Young Minds program, they get a little bit of a taste of what university life is about as we facilitate all our classes on main campus. And so they have that opportunity to mingle a little bit with the other full-time students on campus who are following degree courses as well. Now, I know that with COVID, we've had difficulty a couple of years ago where the program was offered only remotely, and now we've pivoted back to offering the program in the face-to-face modality again, but mostly blended. So the program is then run over 9 months, and it is predominantly face-to-face with some aspects of the program remote. I can safely say that between 80 and 90% of the program is facilitated in person on campus. In other words, the classes, the lectures that the students will attend will be in person, but some of the coaching sessions that they will have with their coach, and also some of the life plan sessions, which is individual they will have, will be facilitated or discussed with their learning process facilitator using the technology at our disposal, which is just a way of being more practical around supporting the youngster as well. So as I've mentioned, therefore, the program is then some of the highlights that I can refer to. The program is then certified by Stellenbosch University. Also, we are in our 14th year of presenting this program with more than 1,300 students that has gone through the program. The Stellenbosch University Career Services definitely recommend this program. And like I said at the beginning, it's a personal development program helping youngsters to make better decisions about their lives. But the advantage of it is structured in a way that will stretch them a little bit without burdening them too much, so that they are feeling that they're doing a strong academic course. The approach that we have is developmental, and it provides flexibility where they will be exposed to the real world of work as well. It enables holistic self-discovery. It insists on real-world exploration, aligns talents and the interests and the opportunities. It also offers them free time so that they can do other activities, but except only being on this program. So if I can maybe just unpack that a little bit. So they will have class for 3 half days per week, and the other time is available for them to work on their group projects, to work on their life plan, but also so that they have time to explore other opportunities, like, for example, taking on a part-time job or just doing some other stuff that will help them in discovering more about themselves. We expect of the youngster to show ownership and accountability, but we will provide support, some guidance, and some safety nets through exclusively, but not exclusively, but mainly through the learning process facilitator, who will be journeying with the youngsters throughout the entire program. Thank you. If you can move to the next slide. So what is the aim of the program? The program aim is to create some direction and meaning for and opportunities in life for the youngster through a structured personal development program where they will get to know themselves, they will explore the real world of work, and they will learn how to match their talents with opportunities that may exist within the environment out there. Suffice to say that this program is not a formal qualification. However, at successful completion, the youngster will receive a Stellenbosch University certificate, which indicates that they have successfully completed the Young Minds program. The Young Minds program is, fortunately for some and unfortunately for others, that is a competency program. In other words, to achieve the certificate, they need to demonstrate competence. And so to that extent, I'll unpack more how these assessments will happen through 2025. Thank you. So Chanel, can you move to the next slide? The program is holistic in terms of the fact that it has 3 developmental areas. We focus strongly on personal mastery, which is just the art of creating a life of fulfillment. We also incorporate in there business acumen, which is the art of creating value and profit. And then lastly, the 3rd developmental area is the entrepreneurial thinking, which is the art of creating opportunities for yourself. And through these intersection of these 3 developmental areas, we are hoping to achieve an empowered individual who will live with a personal vision, a higher sense of internal locus of control, with self-confidence, develop some entrepreneurial thinking with business acumen, but also understanding what it means to lead a balanced lifestyle. And I can say, obviously, in terms of the balanced lifestyle, for some youngsters, that is a difficult thing to achieve, as even when they come onto the program, they're still struggling to balancing the party with having to do the work. But hopefully through the year, they begin to see what the consequences are if they don't bring their parts in terms of having a balanced lifestyle perspective. The program is then, if you can just stick with the previous slide, sorry, Chanel. The program is then facilitated through integrated learning experiences. So apart from this, the formal classes, there will be different activities that they will go through, and we make use of experienced faculty members to facilitate the classroom sessions as well. Our approach is a dual pathway of teaching where there's theory as well as practice happening during the same time. And it's always difficult to get that right mix so that there's enough of theoretical perspective, but also the learning process facilitator will help them to see how they can do some self-organized projects in terms of their own learning as well. So the learning process facilitator, I've already mentioned, will support them through the program, but also each participant will receive 5 life coaching sessions with a life coach that will further underpin and support the work that they do throughout the program. Thank you, Chanel. Next slide, Chanel. In terms of the modules that we are covering, so they will be spending time on operations, planning, and project management. We look at emotional intelligence. There's a workshop on innovation and presentation skills. We focus a lot on the entrepreneurial process, focusing on self-leadership, neuro-leadership, and then some work on career planning and how to develop your personal brand, and then thinking and paradigms, as well as focusing on economics, people management, and how to work within teams, marketing, financial management, but then also a new module that we are introducing in 2025 is just around e-commerce and understanding e-commerce for our youngsters as well. All of these modules culminate into 2 final presentations at the end that they have to develop. The one is they develop a personal life plan, and in syndicate teams or groups, they develop a business plan at the end of the day. And once they have successfully completed all these modules in terms of the assignments and exams, as well as the life plan and business plan, they will be leaving at the end of the program with a certificate from Stellenbosch University, demonstrating or indicating that they have been indeed found competent with regards to this. All right, then our hope is that through, some of you may know this particular model quite well, which is the Johari window. Our hope is that as the youngster come through this process, that they will indeed increase that public side of them by getting feedback in terms of the blind side, by disclosing more around the private side, but also experimenting and discovering more around the hidden potential, so that the public side of them becomes bigger, and through that they'll be able to make far better or more informed decisions around their future as well. One other aspect that they will also deal with, which is important to us, is just the career mapping, which is as you can see on the career planning canvas. And as part of that life plan that they are developing, they will complete this career planning canvas to help them to understand why they are going to choose certain career opportunities or options, and what are the opportunities out there for them as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what they're going to cover on the program as well. The next slide. This is just indicating to you how are we assessing our youngsters. At the beginning of the year, they will be completing a psychometric assessment, which is referred to as the Strength Finder, where we are focusing on the strength that the youngster might have, rather than focusing on what they cannot do. But also, there are some formal assessments that they have to complete, which includes some individual assignments. There's the group project they have to complete, but there's also some exams that they have to complete during the course of the year. Then there's the expectation that they will have to do some job shadowing. The job shadowing component is scheduled at such a time where they can do it actually during the holidays as well, when they go on a university holiday. And the reason is just simply that they have to take responsibility for that, because they are clear around which areas they are interested in, and they have to write a report in terms of that as well. And then lastly, they have to attend their 5 coaching sessions with a professional coach, which we hope will help them then to complete the life plan, complete the business plan, and at the end, graduate or being certified as competent by receiving their certificate at the end of the year. Thank you, Chanel. Now, having said all of that, one of the questions we often get is the question around, so does this lead to something? So we are pleased as from next year to announce as from next year, we have gone into an agreement with the University of Lincoln, which is Lincoln International Business School in the UK, where we have a recognition of prior learning for our youngsters that may complete the Young Minds program. What they offer is that should a youngster complete a Young Minds program, they will be eligible to enter for this foundational degree in operations management at the University of Lincoln. My colleague Chanel will quickly also just post the link, I think, into the chat if you want to get more information around that as well. So they will get into year 1 of that foundational degree, and you can contact us afterwards if you need more information around that recognition of prior learning as well. Great. We can move forward, Chanel. So in conclusion, the program is facilitated in Stellenbosch on our main campus. Your learner or your youngster will be supported by the LPF and by coaches. They have to see 5 coaches. That's the 5 coaching sessions. That's the minimum. That's the minimum number of coaching sessions they need to go through. They need to do 20 notional hours where they have to write a report around the world of work in terms of their job shadowing. And that could be in an NPO, it could be in another organization or a company or a firm. They can do it wherever they would please to do that. They have to pass all assessments with the minimum mark of 50%, and attendance is compulsory. So for applications and admission, we expect the learner to at least have 55% for their prelim exam or their mid-year grade 12 results. So they can apply on the preliminary exams or marks that they have received. There's no specific grade 12 subjects required. And then just for your information, the applications will open soon in this month. And then please submit details so that you can get more information from our colleagues if you have any. On that note, I would like to hand over to my colleague Claire, who will talk to us around the preliminary schedule and some other FAQs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and a good afternoon to everyone. So I'll just quickly go through the preliminary schedule for 2025. We'll kick off with our orientation week from the 11th to the 14th of March in Stellenbosch on the campus. And then it will move into your learning period 1, which will be from the 17th to the 28th of March. And then we will have a short recess from the 29th of March to the 6th of April. And then we will move again over to your learning period 2, which will be from the 7th of April to the 16th of May. We will then go into recess again from the 29th of June to the 20th of July. And then we'll move over to the learning period 3, which is from the 21st of July to the 5th of September. We'll then have there a short bit break from the 6th to the 14th of September, and then we will finish off with our last learning period 4, which will be from the 15th of September to the 24th of October. And then that final period will be from the 3rd to the 5th of November. All of this is on campus. And then our certificate ceremony is in December, usually roughly the first week, and this will be remote via Zoom. As discussed by Kevin, there are 2 sets of exam weeks, and that will be 1 per semester. We will then also have our parent orientation session, and this will be on the 5th of March at 4:30 to 5:30, and it's the exact same setting as we're doing it now via our Zoom platform. Just some frequently asked questions. As Kevin also has alluded to, there's no specific grade 12 subjects required to qualify for the Young Minds program. The minimum average is 55 for your mid-year or final grade 12 results, so you can go ahead and apply with your midterm results. Then attendance of all activities and classes is compulsory. So the program will take place in Stellenbosch on our campus, and that venue will be communicated to those participants closer to the time. So no credit exemption towards any Stellenbosch University undergraduate degrees, if I could just say that. So our fees for 2025 is 61,574, which is exclusive of VAT. We do have a partnership with Capitec. Should you be interested in this opportunity, all the necessary info will be in the mailer that will be sent to you after the program. And then what's not included in our fees is obviously travel and private accommodation, your laptop device and necessary software that the student might need, and any Wi-Fi and data. So there's only a little bit of data requirements, obviously, for any remote group work or individual coaching sessions the participant would need to go through. All right, I'll hand over back to Kevin.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're drawing to a close of our session in the formal part of just providing some information. But before we get going, I was just keeping my eye on the chat quickly. There's a couple of questions that I want to quickly address. I think there was a question in terms of the duration of classes. So what we've had this year was we found it works better for us to run our classes from Monday to Wednesday. And like I mentioned before, it is a half-day program, and that will be from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12:30 over at the end of or the beginning of lunchtime every day. However, that's the formal class time. When we, for example, do group projects, then the day becomes a bit longer, because then they spend the rest from 8:30 till 4 in the afternoons, and there are dedicated times when they have to do those group sessions. So in terms of that, that will fluctuate, but the class time where the formal lectures will be every day, Monday to Wednesday, 8 o'clock in the morning till 12:30 in the afternoon. Then there was a question, I think that one was answered. I just want to make sure the cost, Claire already answered that question now. Closing date has been answered. And then just in terms of the question around, do we assist in finding accommodation? Our colleagues have posted the links where you can access and who you can contact in terms of that. We can recommend in terms of providing links and stuff like that, but we don't assist in the actual exploration and finding of accommodation. So that's not something that we offer. Then the question, would you be eligible to participate in university sports? So you can participate in terms of sport on campus, but you cannot represent Maties. You can utilize the gym, but you can't represent Maties in representative sports at all. But for more information around that, the link to the private students organization has been posted in there. And on that link, you'll find all the information regarding what facilities you may use and what you may not use. The question by Benjamin Rue, can we give both mid-year and final reports? Yes, you can do that as well. We're just saying about the mid-year report, and Benjamin, I'm assuming you are referring to for the application. That's just because we know most matriculants are still writing, so they won't have final results. But if the youngster has been in matric last year, so they have the final results, then that is absolutely, then only the final results is sufficient. We don't need the mid-year results then. There was one other question around when we can expect, I think, a response. I think I can ask one of my colleagues, either Claire or Amira, to answer that one. Once the application is in, the team dealing with the applications would be best to answer that question.
Yes, you want me to take it, Amira, or are you happy to take it?
I was about to start. Thank you, Claire.
Perfect.
So once we receive the application, there's a minimum average requirement of 55% overall. We need the midterm grade 12 report. Or if you have already completed grade 12, we need your national certificate uploaded on the. So the process will take about, say, 48 hours until we report back to you. Normally it is quicker than 48 hours, but let's put it between 24 to 48 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Thank you for showing that efficiency on your side. Then I see Carlo is asking, do students get student cards to get around on campus? I'll hand that question to Samantha. Maybe Samantha can answer that one.
Yes, hi, Kevin. Yes, they do get student cards, but we have to apply for that at the university because they're not full-time students at the university. They are short courses students. So there is a process to go about that, and there is a payment involved as well. So once we orientate them at on the first day of orientation, we will then show them where they can go and get their student cards and what the cost will be to get a student card from the university.
Thank you, Sam. I'm just going, how many students per year? Claire, can you answer that one?
Yes, it's quite a popular program, I must admit. So we take up to, this year we had just under 90 to 100 students. So it usually goes on a first come, first serve basis, but we take up to 100 students.
Thank you, Claire. Then I see Lisa's asking, is provisional acceptance given? You can obviously understand that that's quite a difficult one for us. But obviously, if there's promise, so if and I can understand that if the application is coming in and the result is below 55, but it's still above 50, we can look at that as an option. But obviously, the final result would be then 55 and above before formal acceptance is given. Okay, so we don't want to chase or show any person away, but unfortunately we have to look at the limitation in terms of the group. So yeah, there is that as well. How difficult is it to get into? Well, it's as difficult as it is to in terms of getting a 55% average, and so that 55% average is just so that we know that you can see the program is structured three half days per week, but there's a lot of content that goes into that. So it's not difficult work that they have to do, but it is more around the ability to manage yourself well on campus. So if we look at 55%, we have a fair indication that this particular person has achieved the basics of organizing themselves well, because that's probably how some of our high school courses are structured as well. If they organize themselves well, they will be able to do this as well. The application date we said will be very, very soon in this month still, but we will keep you posted soonest.
Yeah, Kevin, I think everyone knows as soon as that application link is live, everyone on this call will get a mail, a correctional. So you will be the first to get it. And then obviously you can click onto that application link as well. There was a question here, Kevin.
All right.
Just on how many applications did you receive last year? Mira, was it over 200 or?
Yeah, it was almost 300 and we only accommodated about 90.
Yeah.
So Rihanna is also asking a question in terms of that. She's asking if you have more than 100 applications, do you give preference to students with higher marks or the ones applying first? So yeah, if the student apply with 55% and we accept him, we will accept the student, irrespective if there's someone afterwards with 90%. So it's basically first come, first serve, provided that you meet the minimum criteria. Great. Kayan governed this question. Are there any noticeable alumni? I'm assuming most graduates go into entrepreneurship. Actually, Kayan, not true. There are quite a number that goes into entrepreneurship. We've had some great people doing different things going into entrepreneurship, but we also have students who find their niche in life and they go with further studies. For example, many, many years ago when I was one of the lecturers on the program. I was also lecturing at a South African College of Applied Psychology. And then one of the young mind students ended up becoming a psychologist. Just last night, I chatted to one of our young mind students of last year. He is now studying at agriculture at what is our agricultural school? What's it called now? The name, Stellenbosch School. Elsenburg. Yes, thank you, JP. He's studying at Elsenburg now. There's another student of one of our female students who was came onto Young Minds 3 years ago. Ingela, Samantha, you know her name, you can pronounce her name better, but she's gone into fashion, for example, and she's doing exceptionally well, has a great LinkedIn profile. So it's difficult to say that most of them go into entrepreneurship. The focus of the program is not to develop entrepreneurs. The focus is more to show young people that there are different ways of reaching your dreams, of pursuing your goals, etc. And entrepreneurship is one of those, as one of those vehicles as well. Then I've asked that question about university sport. We've already answered that one. Noah, I think you've asked that question earlier on. Did you get the answer, or where's Noah? I'm very fond of the name Noah. My grandson's name is Noah, so I have a soft spot for that name. Okay, I don't see. Oh yeah, yes, he's saying something. Oh yes, he received the message. Okay, thanks. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, are there any other questions? If you would like to, you can switch on your microphone as well if you feel it's going to be easier for you just to ask the question instead of typing it in there, because it's quite a challenge to navigate to see all these questions over there.
Excuse me.
Any other questions? Just want to make sure. Yes.
I just want to make sure again. So for the applications, we will get an email like first.
You will get an email first, yes. So as soon as it's live, we're hoping by next week, latest, you will receive. Chanel, what can they look out for? Where would it come from? Would it come from Charmaine's box?
Directly from Charmaine.
Okay.
And yeah, we will make sure that the people on this call are among the first to know as soon as that application link is live.
Have a look, yeah, for Charmaine Mitchell, and then that would be your email.
Thank you.
We will be looking out for your application. I promise you, we'll be looking out for it. Okay. There's
Kevin, hi.
one question I can't. Yes.
Can I just ask a question with regards to studying undergraduate qualifications on the other side of Young Minds program? I've heard before that sometimes formalized gap years doesn't necessarily aid you towards applying for an undergraduate. What is the relationship that Young Minds program at Stellenbosch has with Stellenbosch University? Is there some form of aiding towards studying at Marty as an undergraduate qualification, or how does that work?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it's the same situation with us. The only thing is that our Young Minds program is highly regarded by the rest of the university. So very often when they have students who apply that they cannot accommodate because of either the marks or whatever, they would very often recommend youngsters to come and do the Young Minds program. But that is not an automatic aid in terms of getting access to a degree program. So it's the same context like you've just explained. It helps in terms of when people are looking at the application and say, but you didn't come in or get in the previous year. but you've done something and you've done the Young Minds program, but there's no formal arrangement between us and the rest of the faculties at Stellenbosch University.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that answers you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
There was a question I just wanted. Maria was asking if I get accepted into the program and the next year do get accepted into the university, what happens then? I think, Claire, if you can answer that one. That's just if you have been accepted into the Young Minds program, and now you also heard from main campus that you are accepted for a degree program and they want to opt for that. What is the situation with regards to that?
Yeah, thanks for that, Kevin. I'm going to get Amira to come in here because there are some rules around that. Obviously, you have a certain amount of time to get, to let us know. You can't let us know a day before the time, obviously, when we launch. So there's obviously days or dates. Amira, do you want to maybe just elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay, so once you are accepted on the program, there is a 10% non-refundable deposit that needs to be paid within 7 days of the date of issue. That basically will secure your booking. But once we get your final results and you accept that you are going to be on the program, we invoice the 90% and that payment we will receive. So basically, if you are accepted, you pay the 10% non-refundable deposit, you will not be able to get that back. So you need to decide before you pay that deposit.
Thanks there for Amira. Amira, there's also another one here. When applications open, can we submit a screenshot of our report and a photo of our ID? Does it need to be commissioned, been approved?
No, it does. Yeah, it does not need to be commissioned. You can just forward a copy of your ID or upload, once you do your application, upload a copy of your ID and a copy of your report or results. When is payment due after acceptance? So once you are accepted, you will get your first invoice, which is the 10% non-refundable deposit invoice. And then in January, and that 10% is payable within 7 days after the date of invoice. And then in January, once we have your final results and you have met the minimum requirement of 55%, you will get your invoice for the balance, which then also needs to be paid 2 weeks prior to the start of the program. So that will be about the 25th of February. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. It seems like we have exhausted most of the questions. I've been trying to keep my eye on the chat as much as I can. I'm just focusing your attention on the message that my colleague Chanel posted, that a recording and additional info will be sent to you, everyone attending today. So should you have any questions, please don't, we don't get to it, please contact then Charmaine Mitchell, and Charmaine's email address, the information email address is right there, as well as a telephone number. Yes, full payment is required before the start of the program. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, as promised, on the screen you can see that those are the contact details. If you need any further information, please email us so that you can get your foot into the door, so that when the link comes out, that we can send it directly onto you so that you can complete the application as well. We will have probably have another information session, I think early next year, but we wanted just to sort of position the program so that you can look at the options are for your youngster as well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Sorry,
Yes.
Kevin, if I may, we actually have another information session coming up on the 27th of November. In the email that we're going to send after the session, we will include the link to register. Should you have any questions by that time, you're more than welcome to join that session as well. But we'll send you that link and any other information shortly.
Thank you so much, Chanel. Great. Yep. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time, and we wish you well, and we really look forward to welcoming your youngster on the program, if this would be the option for him or her. Thank you for your time.